If you think you're in ketosis, but you're still hungry, tired, and stuck, you're not alone. Ketosis has a few clear tells when it's working, and a few equally clear signs when it's not. The tricky part is that the scale can lie, and so can your expectations. You don't need breath meters, blood strips, or fancy wearables to spot the most common reasons ketosis isn't happening. You need a simple checklist you can run on your own body and your own routine. In this breakdown, you'll learn the practical signals that suggest you're not making enough ketones. You'll also learn what each signal usually points to, like hidden carbs, too much protein, or constant snacking. We'll keep it grounded and realistic, because symptoms can overlap with stress, sleep, and hydration. By the end, you'll be able to troubleshoot fast without guessing, and you'll know when it's worth getting extra help if something feels off. Moving to slide 2. First, let's define the target, because confusion starts here. Ketosis means your liver is producing ketones at a meaningful level, usually because carbs are low enough and insulin is relatively low. That's different from eating low carbs sometimes, and it's also different from simply losing weight. Some people can be in ketosis and not lose weight for a while, especially with water shifts. And some people can lose weight while not really being in ketosis, just from eating fewer calories. Another common mix-up is keto flu. Feeling rough in week 1 doesn't prove you're in ketosis. It can also be dehydration, low sodium, or just a big change in routine. So the goal is not to chase a feeling. The goal is to look for a pattern of signals that match the physiology. Think of it like navigation. One sign alone is noisy. Several signs together are much more reliable. Moving to slide 3. One of the most useful signs is appetite. Many people in steady ketosis report calmer hunger and fewer cravings, especially for snack foods. So if you're constantly thinking about food, or you get urgent hunger 2 hours after a meal, that can be a clue you're not fully adapted or not consistently in ketosis. The key word is consistently. If your carbs spike at dinner, your hunger can rebound the next morning. Another clue is the type of craving. A strong pull towards sweets or bread often points to blood sugar swings, which are less common when carbs are truly low. Now, appetite is not perfect. Stress, poor sleep, and intense training can increase hunger even on keto. But if hunger is high and persistent, it's worth auditing your carb intake, your snacking, and your liquid calories. Hunger is feedback, it's not failure. Moving to slide 4. Next sign, energy that feels unstable. A lot of people expect a sudden, limitless energy moment. In reality, the more reliable signal is fewer crashes. If you still get that mid-afternoon slump that feels like your brain turns off, you might be running mostly on glucose swings. In early keto, low energy can happen even when you are producing ketones, because your muscles are still learning to use fat efficiently. But after a few weeks, energy often becomes steadier. So ask a simple question. Do you feel okay, then suddenly not okay, especially after meals? That pattern can suggest carbs are higher than you think, or meals are built in a way that triggers overeating and then a crash. Also, check electrolytes. Low sodium can feel like fatigue and brain fog. That's not ketosis, but it can look like it. Moving to slide 5. Let's talk about digestion and water weight, because this confuses almost everyone. When carbs drop, your body often releases stored glycogen, and glycogen holds water. That's why many people see an early drop on the scale. If you never saw any water shift at all, it doesn't automatically mean you're not in ketosis, but it can be a clue that carbs never got low enough. Another clue is bloating that keeps coming back in a predictable way, especially after keto treats or restaurant meals. Hidden starches, sugar alcohols, and sauces can do that. Also notice thirst and bathroom frequency. On keto, you often lose more water and sodium at first. If you feel puffy and stagnant, it may mean you're still storing glycogen because carbs are higher than you think. Again, not a diagnosis, just a signal to investigate your inputs. Moving to slide 6, here's a surprisingly practical sign: your mouth and breath. Some people notice keto breath, a slightly fruity or acetone-like smell, especially early on. If you never notice it, that doesn't prove anything, because not everyone gets it. But if you had it, and it suddenly disappears right after a higher carb day, that can be a useful clue that you bounced out. Dry mouth can also show up when carbs are low and water shifts. But dry mouth can also be caffeine, mouth breathing, or low hydration. So use this as a supporting signal, not the main one. The deeper point is consistency. Ketosis is easier to maintain when your meals don't swing wildly. If your breath changes, your cravings change, and your energy crashes all line up after certain foods, you found a pattern worth acting on. Your body gives you a trail of breadcrumbs. Moving to slide 7. Now for the big one, hidden carbs. Most people who can't get into ketosis are simply eating more carbs than they realize. The usual suspects are sauces, dressings, marinades, and anything that comes in a bottle. Then there are healthy foods that are still carb-dense, like large servings of nuts, milk, fruit, and some yogurts. Even vegetables can add up if portions are huge, especially starchy ones. Another trap is keto-labeled packaged foods. Some use fibers and sugar alcohols that don't affect everyone the same way. If you suspect hidden carbs, run a short, clean experiment for 3 to 5 days. Eat simple meals with single-ingredient foods, and keep carbs very predictable. If your hunger calms and your energy steadies, you've learned something. Not about willpower, about inputs. Moving to slide 8. Another common reason is protein creeping too high. Protein is essential, but it can be more ketosis sensitive than people expect. Your body can convert some amino acids into glucose through a normal process called gluconeogenesis. That doesn't mean protein is bad, and it doesn't mean you should fear it. It means that if you're eating very lean meats all day, plus protein shakes, plus bars, you might be pushing yourself out of deeper ketosis. A practical sign is this: you're low carb, but you still feel snacky, and you don't get that calm, steady satiety. Or your meals feel light, and you keep chasing more. The fix is usually not to slash protein. It's to bring protein into a reasonable range and stop stacking extra protein products. Then add enough fat for satiety, mainly from whole foods, not just oils. Moving to slide 9. Let's address snacking and meal timing. You can eat low carb and still make ketosis harder if you graze all day. Every time you eat, insulin rises a bit, even with keto foods. For some people, constant small snacks keep the body in fed mode, and fat burning never really ramps up. A clue is that you're doing keto foods, but you never feel truly hungry, and you also never feel truly satisfied. It's just constant nibbling. Another clue is that you need something sweet, even if it's keto sweet, after every meal. If this sounds like you, try building 2 or 3 solid meals with enough protein and non-starchy vegetables, then stop. Give your body a few hours between meals. This isn't about extreme fasting. It's about letting signals settle so you can read them. Consistency beats perfection here. Moving to slide 10. Electrolytes deserve their own slide because they create false negatives. If sodium, potassium, and magnesium are low, you can feel weak, headachy, irritable, and foggy. Many people interpret that as keto isn't working, then they add carbs and they feel better fast. But what actually happened is that carbs helped you retain water and sodium again. That's not a moral issue. It's physiology. If you're eating low carb, you may need more sodium from salted food or broth, especially early on or if you sweat a lot. Magnesium can matter for sleep quality and muscle cramps. Potassium is important too, but it's best approached through food sources unless a clinician advises otherwise. The key sign here is timing. If symptoms improve quickly with salty fluids, that points to electrolytes, not necessarily ketosis failure. Moving to slide 11. Sleep and stress can also make you think you're not in ketosis. When sleep is short or stress is high, appetite hormones shift and cravings get louder. Some people also see higher morning blood sugar from stress hormones, even if carbs are low. You might feel puffy, stuck, and unusually hungry, then assume you need to cut carbs harder. Sometimes the better move is to stabilize your routine. Get consistent sleep, keep caffeine earlier, and avoid turning keto into a constant mental project. Another clue is this: you're perfect with food, but your hunger and energy are still chaotic during stressful weeks. That's not you doing it wrong. It's your body prioritizing survival signals. Ketosis is not just a food list. It's a whole body state. If you want a clean read on whether keto is working, you need at least a basic foundation of recovery. Moving to slide 12. Let's build a no-gadget troubleshooting protocol you can actually follow. Step 1. Simplify for 3 days. Choose a small menu of whole foods, meat, fish, eggs, non-starchy vegetables, and a few measured fats like olive oil or butter. Step 2. Remove the keto extras temporarily: bars, shakes, sweeteners, and packaged substitutes. Step 3. Set meal structure: 2 or 3 meals, no grazing, and stop eating a few hours before bed if that helps your sleep. Step 4. Salt your food and drink water to thirst, not as a contest. Then track only a few outcomes: hunger stability, energy stability, cravings, and digestion. If those improve, you are likely being pushed out of ketosis by hidden carbs, timing, or product foods. If nothing improves, that's useful too. It suggests you should look at sleep, stress, total calories, or talk with a clinician to rule out other issues. Moving to slide 13. Finally, know when self-troubleshooting isn't enough. If you have persistent dizziness, fainting, heart palpitations, or severe weakness, that's not a keto sign to push through. If you have diabetes, kidney disease, a history of eating disorders, or you're pregnant or breastfeeding, keto-style diets should be discussed with a qualified clinician. Also, if your mood is consistently worse, your sleep is falling apart, and your relationship with food is getting rigid, that matters more than ketones. Ketosis is a tool, not a test of discipline. If you want a simple recap, remember this: the most common reasons you're not in ketosis are hidden carbs, constant snacking, and protein stacking, plus electrolytes and stress, creating confusing symptoms. Run the 3-day reset, then adjust one variable at a time. If you found this useful, subscribe for more practical nutrition troubleshooting, and comment A or B. Do you struggle more with hidden carbs or with snacking? This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Insulin drives the system. Understand it.